Welcome back to Walk with TFB. Tim Bryson here, and as you know, I'm a Black millennial who's eager to have unfiltered conversation with authentic people centered on international education, global sport, and Black culture. Man, today we have a guest, man, someone I've been following for several months now, and whose journey is not just inspirational, but quite honestly, one that's going to be one that we continue to speak about, not just this coming 2024 year, but in years to come. This guy is all about academics, is all about athletics, and truly the definition of what it means to be a college athlete. But someone who's not coming from 10 miles away, even 100 miles away, but thousands of miles away to enter into the U.S. higher education system beginning in January 2024 to represent the Northwestern Wildcats. But I'm going to be quiet and allow my guy to introduce himself. So without further ado, y'all help me welcome my namesake, actually, Timi. Okay. What's poppin', Timi?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
No, of course, bro. And it's funny you said that because for the longest time, I thought your name was abbreviated. And
Really?
then I asked you just, yeah, and I'm like, I've never seen Timmy spell like that ever,
It's a
ever,
Nigerian
ever.
spelling. No, Nigerian spelling, so it's spelled a bit differently. Because I know normally Timmy spelled with a Timmy, or it's
Mm-hmm.
Tim or short for Timothy. But yeah, mine
Uh-huh.
is unique. It's different.
I love it. I love it, man. Like I
Yeah,
said, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we can spend time with you today.
of
As I said
course.
before, and I think everyone who follows Walk with TFB knows this. The NFL Academy is doing some phenomenal work. But the Academy, obviously, with support from the league and the coaches, is super important. The athlete stories are very unique, very individualized, and ones that I want to make sure that we highlight and amplify on this show.
Yes,
So as I
sir.
said before, man, segment one is all about storytelling. So Timmy, man, talk to us. People can find you online, but in your own words, what's your story?
So my story. So I have a quite very unique story in terms of it all happened in a very kind of short time span. I was blessed with the opportunity to be given a platform. I only started playing in American football a year ago. So I started my journey with the NFL Academy. So Coach Marvin and the NFL Academy, he was my defensive backs coach, Coach Marvin. He took the chance on me and he gave me an opportunity at the academy to to go there for a year and to to pretty much learn the sport and play the game. So I went there, just as an athlete. I had experience in soccer and track. You call it soccer, I call it football, but so soccer and track. So I had experience in that for a while. I was playing that for the majority of my life, and then went to the academy as a new as a novice in the sport, and then kind of from there I learned the sport in a year. I picked up very quickly. I was able to play games, go to the States for camps and things, and a year later, I managed to pick up 8 Division 1 offers from from schools in the States, and I've just recently committed to Northwestern University, great school, Big Ten, Power Five school, and can't wait to get started. And I'll go, early next year. Can't wait to go and get this going.
But so you mentioned you mentioned the academy again. You skipping over a lot of parts that, of course, I saw in my own research. But I want
Yes,
to take
sir.
us back a little bit further. I want to take us back because you talk about I call it global football now. I'm trying to be more inclusive. And
Okay,
so
yeah,
you grew up playing global football, right? When did
yes,
you get
sir.
introduced to the sport? When did you get introduced to the sport?
So I mean, I personally only started picking up interest for the sport. The first game I watched was the Super Bowl where the Rams played the Bengals and the Rams won. That was like a couple of years ago. That was the first game I ever watched for the sport. I remember watching it and I knew the basics, but I didn't really know. There were some things I didn't really understand of the sport at the time. I was thinking, yeah, that why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? So after that game, I was like, you know what, I kind of like this sport. I'm gonna start researching more about it. So I'm online. I watched YouTube videos. I remember watching YouTube videos, just breaking down the basics of the sport in detail. Just small things like for example, QB nil, which when the average person watches a QB taking, they're like, why are they taking a knee for? The game's not done. But when you actually
Mm-hmm.
watch the sport, you
Mm-hmm.
understand that. Just the different things like that, like a touchback, why they throw their hand up, they catch it, and they can't advance fair catch. But things like that, I didn't know what they were because I was new to the sport. So yeah, I
Wow.
started with YouTube. I started watching just different players that I've heard of, like Tyreek Hill, your Patrick Mahomes, all these players that I've just heard of, but I haven't seen play. Tom Brady, obviously, as well. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was kind of my mum that my mom is the one in the first place that kind of got me interested in the sport, because she was encouraging me to start it. She thought, I'd make a good fit for the sport. And at the time, I was playing soccer and I didn't want to make the switch because, I mean, I still love soccer. I still love the game now. I still watch football to this day. My team's Arsenal, so, I keep up with them all the time. And I didn't
Mhm.
want to make the switch until my mom was pushing me to make the switch. And yeah, she kind of persuaded me to give it a go. So what I did is that I went to the academy, an FO academy, for trials. And from there they called me and they told me, they want me to come down and represent the academy. And from there it was just history.
Hold on. The very first NFL game you watched was the Super Bowl versus the Rams and the Bengals?
Yes, sir. That was the very first. I'll never forget. That was the very first game I watched.
Oh my team. I'm from Cincinnati, so that was a heartbreak.
Yeah.
That was that was hard. Yeah, that's heartbreak. But
That's
you say you also grew up playing soccer.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Majority of my life. That's the main sport I was playing.
So how'd you get introduced to soccer then?
Especially in the UK, I'd say in Europe as well. That's definitely the most popular sport. So I was playing that in high school, secondary school. Even when I'm
Mhm.
playing soccer since the age of like 5, 6, all the way up. I played it till I was. I mean, I still play it for fun now, but I was playing it. I'm 19 now, so I've been playing it for around 14 years, 14, 13 years. So I mean, in terms of starting it, it's really easy to start because almost everyone kind of plays it from a young age. Everyone watches it, so it's really easy to start that kind of thing. And I've just
Mhm.
been it for a while now.
Mm. And so you mentioned obviously going to the academy, or you went to trials at the academy, got the call, they wanted you to join the academy. But one
Mm.
thing that I've appreciated seeing, obviously being here in the United States, is that a lot of you all, of course, claim London, but also claim your home countries in
Yes,
Africa.
sir. Of
So I
course.
would love you. I would love for you to talk more about what it means to be Nigerian. What it means to be from the UK, especially playing a sport that is local to the United States.
It's big, it's almost like it's a privilege. I take a
Mm.
lot of pride in it because like I said, foot the American football it's an American sport at the end of the day. So being an international player, being able to go to a school like Northwestern and represent the international scene is a privilege, and I take a lot of pride in that because I know at the end of the day, I'm not just doing it for myself and my family. I'm doing it for the other internationals that are afraid to take the next step. Being of Nigerian descent as well means that I can represent Nigeria and the UK to to a very high level all the way to the NFL, which is my dream. So I want to really make sure that I inspire people from Africa and from Europe because I know there's loads of players like me who athletically are out of this world in Nigeria, for example, and the UK, and other countries around the world. So I want people to know that if I can do this in what short space of time, only 1 year, then the sky's the limit for anyone else, and they can take the next step like me.
Very true. So you mentioned obviously everyone watches soccer in the UK and over in Europe. Of course, now
So
American football is growing because of the London games, the Frankfurt games. A question I asked my people last night, question they asked me to ask you was that you obviously soccer is soccer, wherever global football is global football. But with this rise of American football in Europe, like how are you seeing like more fans become more attracted to American football? Are people still watching soccer on the side? What's the experience like right now?
it's definitely growing. I mean, the NFL started the kind of project, I think almost 10 years ago. I don't know how long exactly, but
Mm-hmm.
in terms of growing the
Mm-hmm.
international scene, and that's why the academy kind of came into place. They wanted to give other guys outside of America the platform to play the sport and to play at the highest level. So it's definitely growing. All my friends before I started playing the sport, they didn't really have a clue of the sport now, but they know now because I'm playing. And there'll be other instances of people that will start to take knowledge of the sport, to start to watch games, and it's definitely growing. College football's growing in the UK as well. People becoming really aware of the game in the States. NFL obviously is growing, so it's. I know that in almost, let's say, for example, 10 years time, there's going to be loads of us in the NFL, international players, and the game's going to be globalized, which is very good.
That's super dope. Before we jump
Yes,
to
sir.
segment two, Timmy, as thinking back to your time growing up in London, what's it like as Nigerian American growing up in London? I went for the first time a few weeks ago, and I'm like, yo, this is different.
It's
This
different
is
for sure.
very this is
It's
very
different. I
different.
mean, one thing I like is that I've always kept my Nigerian side of with me, for example, in terms of
Mhm.
my culture. I come from a very Nigerian culture, Nigerian household. In terms of,
Mm-hmm.
for example, small things like food, for example, like I eat a lot of Nigerian food at home. It could be things to do with like expectations. Nigerians, we're people that we love to win. We have a saying that we don't finish last, we don't carry last. It's always first place in anything we do. We want to excel in anything we do, academic, sport, businesses, anything you want to do. So I kind of have that mentality to be the greatest in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of I've had that from a young age, and being able to like I said, my accent is an English accent, so I kind of that's why I said I kind of have both because when I go out, I speak English with my friends, but have a very Nigerian accent. I mean, no, English accent. Sorry, lived here my whole life as well, so I kind of have the balance, of both worlds, which is good to have.
Dope. Segment 2, man, getting into the academy in particular. So anyone following the Instagram page obviously see y'all, playing or practicing. Y'all beat two, United States high school powerhouse teams this past season, which was
So
wild. But tell us more about the academy. What is the academy in your own words, or someone who has no clue what the academy is? Like, what is it?
the academy, the best way for me to describe the academy to someone who's never heard of it before is I would say it's a high school program set up by the NFL for players outside of America to pursue
Mm-hmm.
their dreams and essentially go Division One. That makes sense. So it's a full-time
Mm-hmm.
program. It used to be based in London. Recently moved up to Loughborough, and it's a full-time program. We all live together, and you train. I don't know, 4 to 5 times a week now. Be in the gym 3 to 4 times a week. It's literally a full-time program. You have your education up there as well. They make sure that you're ready to go Division One, which is everyone's goal in the end. At the end of the day, Division One.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be Division One. It could be Division Two, Division Three, JUCO, and NAIA. So they prepare you for the next step. And it's growing now. I mean, I remember when this academy started off, we were good. We were, we were kind of making scenes, making headlines.
Mm-hmm.
But now, being two American teams, Erasmus Hall and IMG, people are really starting to take notice of the academy and what we do, which is really good. I know coaches in the States, especially from Northwestern and other schools, they're taking note of the academy now. And I know for a fact that, coaches are going to start flying out to watch the academy play. I know coaches have already told me personally about how they want to do that. So I know very soon, we're gonna have loads of coaches coming down for recruitment, which is good, because it's something that I think will change the game in terms of recruitment for college sports.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I know that Northwestern. I'm gonna go there and be the only person from the UK, only international kind of player in terms of outside the US and Canada. If that makes sense because they don't normally
Mm-hmm.
recruit players from Europe or Africa or so on and so forth. So and they're saying that they wanted to start to do that more. So the game's is changing a lot, and it's gonna change in the future. We're gonna have loads more guys coming from the academy, making the next step to transition to American football, which is really good.
Because you started the academy, what year?
I started so we're in 2023 now. I started 2022, so
So
August the 14th. Actually, I remember the day. The day is August the 14th, 2022.
So before you came to campus, before you moved in, what was
Yes,
your
sir.
expectations? What was your expectations of the academy? And now, as you exit out, like how they changed? Like, how has your perception of the academy changed?
I mean, when I went there, because I only had a year pretty much to because of my age and my eligibility, the whole NCAA eligibility rules and
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I could only stay at the academy for a year. So the way I looked at it is it was make or break for me. I had the year pretty much to get Division One scholarship offers. As a person that's never played a sport before, so it was a big risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in there knowing that as soon as I um touch the academy, I need to get going, right away. I need to start working hard. I need to start doing, working harder than others was really important for me. And really making sure I got the grasp of the game down. So understanding the terminology of the game, understanding the details and the playbooks. That was the main thing. I went there and as soon as I got there, I was asking the coach, "Where's the playbook? I want to get started. I want to start learning because I know I didn't have that much time, so I wanted to get going straight away."
Mm. And then what the biggest learning curve, I know as I did some research on your journey, right? Coming from London to the academy, now to the United States here soon. You did obviously a lot of playbook studying. I don't know, a lot of videos you mentioned on YouTube. But as
Yes,
you take us back over the last year and a half, what was the biggest learning curve or adjustment for you transitioning into a new sport?
new sport. I mean, one thing I would say about American football is that people tend to say, "Oh, when you told them you play American football, their first thing to say is, "Oh, isn't it like rugby?" Which is
Mm,
what we have in especially in Europe. But I used to think that okay, maybe it might be a bit similar to rugby. This is when I had no knowledge of the sport, obviously, until I started learning it and playing it. I was like, yeah, no, this is completely different. It's completely different. I'll say it's a very unique sport.
yeah.
I feel like it's one of the only sports where you spend a lot of time off the field as well, learning the game in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
watching film and stuff. We spend, especially at the academy, we spend a lot of our time in in the film room, studying play, studying the playbook, and watching the teams we're going to play. And I feel like that's really unique about this sport is that it allows you to excel on and off the field. If you have a high IQ, for example, that's going to help you a lot in the classroom, which at the end of the day is
Mm-hmm.
going to help you players. So it kind of works hand
Mm-hmm.
in hand. It's really good.
So you went to the academy, of course. You did the I guess the combine, if you will. At what point did you know you're gonna play defensive back? Like, did you try any of the positions before that? Like,
I mean, I didn't really have an idea when I joined. Also, I was looking at the positions where I thought, I might do well. So I thought
uh,
receiver. I remember thinking wide receiver for a bit, and defensive back. Those are the main two. Um, and I remember at the time, defensive back, because of the time span I had as well. I felt like personally, defensive back would be the best fit for me. In terms of,
mm-hmm.
I feel like it suits my attributes as well. For example, I think it really
Mm-hmm.
suits what my physique, my athleticism, all those kind of things. I feel like it really suits me. And the defensive backs coach wanted me to join as a defensive back, so it's kind of like a no-brainer for me. That was the option they gave me to join the academy. It was as a defensive back, and I really wanted to do that as well. So I was very happy with that decision. I went in there and just hit the ground running straight away.
So of course you mentioned studying. Obviously, I played the game, etc. But from a social standpoint, what's life at the academy like outside of sport and school? What y'all be doing?
In our free time,
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing, I mean, I would say it's a good thing. The academy is in Loughborough, so it's in a place where it's a very quiet place. It's not London. London's, where everything happens is quite busy, but the academy's north of England right now. It's north of the UK. It's up north. It's about 3-4 hour drive from London. So it's in a
Mm-hmm.
place where in your free time there is not much to do, as in like in terms of going out and things, which works really really well at the end of the day because it means that you can go. You don't really have a choice apart from to practice. Like I remember in my free
Mm-hmm.
time, me and my friend Lopez, for example, we would go to the field and just practice, do some more, whatever it could be. It could be technique work. We can even go to the gym because we have access to everything 24/7. We can do
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want, which is really good. And it just means that you end up working harder and you see your progress improve drastically over a short space of time, which is really good. And it means that you acquire the things such as discipline. You get very disciplined. You stay disciplined. You stay consistent. I was up pretty much 6 a.m. every day with Lopez. We would hit the field before gym at 6 a.m. in the morning. Just make sure we do like
Wow.
an hour on the field. It used to be pitch black and cold. I remember it used to be very cold in those times in the morning. But
Mm-hmm.
we knew that if we work while people sleep, then the gap's gonna close. Especially
Mm-hmm.
we're going against guys at the end of the day in the States that have been playing the game literally their whole life. As soon as they're born, they're playing them at the game. So we knew that we have to outwork them, and the only way we're going to do that is by practicing outside of practice hours, which is really good.
So you mentioned our work, and I'm looking at this ESPN article that reads British-Nigerian DB Timi takes his soccer speed and skills to Northwestern football.
Yes,
What does
sir.
that mean to you as I say that out loud, bro? It's on ESPN. Like, what does that mean to you?
I mean, I still can't. It still hasn't really sunk in yet, because it's like a dream. I remember when you start playing. When I started playing, it was a dream of me to go to Division 1. But
Mm-hmm.
to be able to go to school, a Big Ten school like Northwestern, is
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And I'm thankful to God, for making it happen because at the end of the day, it wouldn't be possible without Him. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing all these articles
Yeah.
now. I'm seeing ESPN. I'm seeing Sky Sports, which is like the main sports kind of
Mm-hmm.
journalists that we have in the UK. I'm seeing all these places publish me. I'm like, wow, like it's crazy. I'm going on my phone. I'm seeing all of it, and I saw them.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning. I'm like, wow, like, I'm really on ESPN, But
Yeah.
I'm just grateful, and hopefully many more to come from different
For
articles
sure.
in the States.
For sure. For sure. And you mentioned a course, and that you truly embody what it means to be a student athlete.
Yes,
So I
sir.
would love to just talk more about, and this might be a rhetorical type of question, but like, why is academics so important? But then really getting some of the things that people may not know about you. So, for example, your Spanish and obviously Chinese, right? The hedge fund, which we'll talk about. But like, why academics? Why is it so high? And like, when did that start?
So for me, I take a lot of pride in the academic side of things as well, because
Mm-hmm.
my goal is obviously to go to the NFL, and I set high standards for myself. So I want to be the greatest defensive back to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal I had of mine since I started playing the sport, and I still have that goal. But at the end of the day, I know that as much as I love the game, NFL's you're not going to be playing NFL in your 70s, your 60s. You know, it has a very short time span.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are lucky even to get to your 40s is rare. So, I know that I'm still going to be very young when I finish the sport. So I still have a life after football. So I really want to make sure that after football, I have something that I may not need to rely on, but that I can leave in terms of legacy for my children, not just my children, for other people, especially in the UK or so on and so forth. So I wanted to pick a school where it would allow me to excel in both worlds, and Northwestern allows me to do that. Obviously
Mm.
on the field in terms of football and academically, a Northwestern degree is something that's recognized internationally, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my goal in terms of the academic side of things is that I want to open my own hedge fund and be able to help other players, in the NFL, in college, my friends as well, so on and so forth, trade. I feel like educational trading, especially for these kind of players, would really help them in terms of
Mm-hmm.
investing into stocks, whatever that may be, so that when they finish playing the sport just like me, you know, they have money to rely on, because I read a lot of things where players in the NBA as well and in the NFL, they go bankrupt after playing, and I feel like that
Yep.
comes down to education, lack of education. So I really want to make sure that there's more players that are educated in that kind of sense. So I really want to make sure that happens. And in terms of me, yeah, I speak three languages. So I speak obviously English, that's my main language, and I learned Chinese and Spanish at school, at high school, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been learning it for since a very young age. So I feel like learning those two languages and speaking, English, Spanish, and Chinese, which are the top three most spoken languages in the world, will really allow me to break barriers in terms of helping entering the Chinese market, entering the Spanish market, which is huge. Really
Mm-hmm.
allowing those guys to receive education as well. Maybe that's in finance or in general, which is really important for me.
Wow. Was your Northwestern visit your first time in Chicago?
Yeah, so that was my first time in Chicago. I mean, I went to the States for camps, end of May and June around that time. But I went to the southern parts of
Uh,
America. So I went Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee, those three
oh,
states for camps. I hit like loads of different camps in those three states. I was traveling pretty much every day, going to different places, competing.
wow.
But Chicago, yeah, that was my first time. So I went end of October. And yeah, I really liked it, it's really nice. It's different to London,
Yeah.
like for example, I know, in America they drive on the other side of the road. Like you drive on the right side. In the UK, they
Yeah.
drive on the left side.
Uh,
So like I was
uh-huh.
like, this is different, It's not it's not the same as here. But yeah, I really liked it, and I felt at home when I went to Northwestern. It's in Evanston, just pretty much what 30-40 minute drive from Chicago downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in a very beautiful place. It's by Lake Michigan, and the facilities are like amazing. That there's something that for me to describe it, I don't think I can. I feel like you have to see it with your own eyes and go there and see it yourself. For you to really
Mm-hmm.
understand like how nice they really are.
Yeah, Northwestern is nice. How much you pay for your haircut in London?
Oh, that's a good question. It depends on where you go, but in terms of like Great British Pounds GBP, I would say it's around on average maybe 20-25, and I feel like in dollars that's probably 30 something. I think
Yeah,
maybe like
25, 30. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if it's the same. I heard that in the States, haircuts can be a bit more expensive, so I'm gonna have to try and figure that one out for sure.
Now I'm excited you to find a barber in the state of Chicago, man. You're
Yes,
gonna be
sir.
right. Keep your
I should be
fade.
right. You're right. I'm hoping there's some good.
Okay.
I know there'll be some good barbers over there, so I should
Yeah,
be
for
straight.
sure. For sure. As you think about, you're coming here in a month. What are some of the things you're excited about, things you're thinking about? Of course, not just from a school standpoint, because obviously that's important, but you're also transitioning to a new country, which is its own transition in itself. So, what are you thinking about? Begin to think about coming over here.
I'm looking forward to embracing a new culture.
Mm,
In that sense, in terms of me being homesick, I've been I've been lucky because I had the experience of moving away from home when I was at the academy because it wasn't in London and I live in London. So
yep.
everyone has to move away from home to stay at the academy and live with everyone else. So in that kind of sense, I've had the experience of doing it before. So I don't feel like I will be as homesick as maybe other people, if that makes sense, because I'm used to it. I'm used to living away from home, calling home to see how things are doing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to embracing a new culture. Meeting new people, networking, and really just sharing each other's stories, which is very exciting. So I can't wait.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to get here, bro. You got a fan in me. But
Yes, sir.
before we go to segment 3, as you're thinking about the academy, just international athletes learning U.S. American football, you got the microphone right now. What do you want more people to know about the academy? What do you want more people to know about your colleagues, your teammates that that are coming after you, coming next? What do you want to tell them?
I said that in terms of the academy, like, I would say we're coming. Watch out, because we're coming in very quickly, and at the moment it's really growing. There's guys like myself, obviously going to Northwestern. There's Daniel, my friend, he's committed to Oklahoma. There's Emmanuel, who's already at Tennessee, and there's Lopez, who's going to Boise State. There's Kofi. He went last year, but he's at Colorado. Peter as well, he's at Temple. So there's loads of places for the academy. There's another guy called Sadie Traore, Zico. He's at Mississippi State. So like there's loads of guys from the academy,
Wow.
and from the scene that that are making an impact right now in college football and will make an impact next year. So, and there's more coming. There's a lot more coming. There's some real ballers out there at the academy, that literally like, yeah, they can really play. So we're coming in very, very, very quickly, and it's going to be a case of maybe, I don't know, 3 to 4 years. You're going to see loads of us, playing against each other, competing at the highest level of college football. So it's very exciting.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Segment 3, Timi. We talked about your experience, of course, at the academy. Also talked about some things you're thinking about as you matriculate to Northwestern here in January 2024. But how can I, but also our podcast community, best support you in your journey moving forward?
I feel like it's all about exposure, really helping international players be recognized, because I feel like that's the main thing. The American scene, it's not really it's becoming more aware now, which is very good. But we really want to improve the knowledge of international players. Because for example, like I said, it's an American game at the end of the day, so most fans would only know of American players. But I feel like it's really important to grow the game internationally, to start recognizing international players, and helping us, because at the end of the day, that we're not just doing it for us. We're doing it for everyone else, in the international scene. So helping us with exposure, getting our name out there. Even just telling a friend like, oh, have you heard of this guy? I don't know, have you heard of Timi? Have you heard of Daniel, for example? And they're gonna tell a friend. So the game's gonna grow through things like that, for example. So like I said, we're growing anyway, but that's only gonna help. So things like that will definitely help for sure.
I love it. Any food you're looking forward to trying in the US as you get over here?
Well, that's a good question. Food. I don't even have like a specific food in it. Like, I know the food's nice out there though, like for sure. I remember when I went there, I was like, yeah, this is nice. That's nice. But I have to be careful though, because I can't be eating all those food. I
Nah.
have to be sure I'm staying healthy, I'm staying fit and everything. So
Yeah. Did you eat Nigerian food when you were in Chicago on your visit?
No, I didn't. I went to a steak restaurant, and I ate with obviously the head coach and the corners coach and their families and everything.
Yeah.
And I went to I think it was just normal American restaurant. I think like a burger and chips or something, or fries. You call it fries, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean the food was amazing. It was amazing. So yeah, I know I'll be in good hands with food.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at your schedule now, man. It's probably to be that Indiana game, October 5th. I don't like being cold, so
Yeah,
Northwestern's Chicago's cool, London's cool. I don't like being cold, so it's gonna be earlier in the season, bro. But definitely look forward to coming and watching you play in person.
for sure. Thank you. Can't wait.
For sure. Well, everyone else, man, make sure y'all tap in with Timi. I'll be sure to link Timi's Instagram into the description of this podcast. Be sure to follow him and show him love. This conversation is just simply one of the first as we continue to learn more about the academy, how Walk with TAB can best support the academy. But as I teased out with y'all, I guess a month now, and Timi, I'm telling you, you probably didn't see this yet, but we're coming to London. I'm bringing people to London next year.
That's
So
big.
look forward. Yeah, man, I got to. It's just seeing Wembley Stadium, I was like, oh yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta.
it's big. Yeah, have you seen Tottenham's one? Tottenham Stadium.
Not
When they
yet,
play
not yet.
Yeah, that's nice as well. That's really nice.
Really?
Yeah, they played obviously I went to watch all the games, the London games this year. They played the Bills against the Jaguars at Tottenham Stadium, and
Yeah.
the Titans against the Ravens. They played both of those games there, so they were really good games. And
You think the team's gonna come? You think a team's gonna come eventually?
With from what do you mean? As in be created here?
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, if there's an NFL team in the UK, I know that it's gonna change a bit because teams would have to be traveling, especially the team in the UK. If there was an NFL team in the UK, they'd have to be traveling back and forth from the States. But someone has to start. Has to start somewhere. So it'd be great to have a UK team, um, full of not just international players, but also full of American players as well. Where that will really help grow the game, and that'll make it a global game, which should be very good.
Well, let me ask you this then, before, because on that same topic, the 3 questions just came to me. Fun questions, if you will. Number one, obviously you playing in the Big Ten. I'm sure you follow college football a lot closer now.
Of course, yeah, I'm up to date with everything.
I figured, which Big Ten stadium are you most excited to play in? It don't have to, not even team related, but just the stadium itself, the atmosphere, the state. What are you thinking? Like, which one excites you?
Good question. I mean,
apart from Northwestern, of course.
Yeah. I was gonna say, apart from obviously my own stadium, I'll say the Big House. The Big House is one of them. Michigan. I know we're playing it away next year. So that's. I mean, they have like 115,000. So that's that's gonna be a very interesting atmosphere for sure to play in. And also not even just Michigan, Penn State as well. I think it's called what's it called? Happy Valley or something like that.
Happy Valley, yeah.
Yeah, their fans are. They have like 100,000 as well, but their fans are crazy. So that'll be a good game as well. And I feel like there's a few others. I like the Tennessee fans a lot. I went there for a visit last summer, and they got some good fans as well. So being able to play in these environments is like almost like a dream come true. And at the end of the day, they only help you. They can only help you because when you go to the NFL, you'd have the experience of dealing with such a loud atmosphere already, which will only benefit you. So it's very exciting times ahead for sure.
Second question for you: you got 5 minutes. 5 minutes before you got to go onto the field or before game time. You got time to pick one song to get you ready to go on the field. What song you putting on? Only one song. Ooh. What song you putting on?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm different in terms of like pre-match preparation. Like I like to, obviously, I like to listen to what the whole team listens to. But normally before the game, you want something more upbeat and everything. So, I'll be listening to what I like to play. Whatever Lil Durk, Baby. I listen to a lot of American music as well. So, I mean, I like that. But then I'll say just before the game, I like to kind of calm it down a bit and get my head clear. So I play calmer music. But at the end of the day, I want to represent the UK music scene when I go out there. I want people to tap into the UK music scene. So I go put on for the UK. So I'll be playing all sorts. Depends, to be honest. I feel like before games, K-Trap, Warm. Everyone knows that song in the UK. But they'll get to know it in the US as well when I go there. Just really listening to UK music and tapping into that will be for sure.
And then last question for you: as you're thinking about coming to the United States and everything else, is there an American tradition, American holiday that you like? I can't wait to see this in person.
Yes, sir. Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. I'll be seeing on my phone. I'll be going through my phone. I'll be seeing all the nice foods and stuff. And we don't have Thanksgiving over here, so I'm like, damn, like I want to have this food too, So I'm looking forward to celebrating that. We'll see my friends and everything, and having some nice food for Thanksgiving because we don't have the holiday. We need to get that over here for sure. We need to have that over here.
That's dope, man.
Yes,
well, Timi, man, thank you again for your time, bro. Look forward to dropping this episode very soon. And then look forward to everyone not just supporting you, but of course, cheering on the Northwestern football team for the Bowls game, but then obviously in the 2024 season as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course, man, we'll be in touch for sure. But for everyone else, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Walk with TFB. Again, tap in with Timi. We got sidetracked towards the end, but it's for good reason. It's on purpose. The NFL Academy is here. Now the NCAA is global. And if you have not already, man, buy stock now because international talent will be taking over college sports sooner than later. But again, look forward to seeing y'all soon for another episode. But as always, until then, walk with me.